Good morning, good afternoon. Um, I am Lily Asongfac from Cameroon. My background is in telecommunications engineering, and I've been a part of the space industry for a little over 5 years now. Back home in Cameroon, I run a project called the Aerospace Baby Project. And what we do is we basically teach kids aged 4 to 17 about space. So we go to primary schools, secondary schools, and engage with them, do hands-on courses, and just watch videos, whatever it is that gets children excited, from animation, from storybook. So we're using what they like to pass the message of space, which in turn gets them excited about science and mathematics and all that good stuff. I am very honored to be a part of this conversation. And like Nelly mentioned, I think this is a conversation that is very important. And even seeing guys here makes it makes it more exciting, because this is exactly what I was telling a friend the other day, that not just women, are supposed to push this gender equality and gender parity agenda, right? Because we need the men in leadership, we need the men who are brothers, who would be fathers and all of that, to support the women around them. But one thing is, we also shouldn't make it seem like we continue to make this conversation centered around more opportunities for women, but also we need to empower the men. And I don't know if empower is the right word, but we need to make sure there are equal opportunities indeed. It's true, the number of women in STEM fields, the number of women in the space industry is not equal to the number of men. But at the same time, if we end up over empowering, in quotes, I say this with a pinch of salt, over empowering, like if the women outnumber the men, then we're going to have a loop where now we want to get more men into STEM, and they will just keep doing that circle. So it's important that we're ensuring there's a balance, because at the end of the day, these men have sisters, they have wives, they have children, daughters, and it should be a collaborative effort, right? It's not women against men, but it's men and women working together to make sure the environment, the working environment, the industry is welcoming for both genders. So I'm not sure if we'll get questions yet, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on the topic, especially being someone who has always, I mean, I'm a woman now. I was a girl a few years ago. I'd been in a science class where there were very few girls, and then I went to engineering school, again, very few girls. But I appreciate the existence of programs that empower girls and that encourages us, right, to uh, dream big, to not be limited by the fact that some of these careers we keep seeing men and there are not many female role models, which is what inspired me to start the Aerospace Baby project, to use my story and to just be, a real life example to young girls and boys in school. Because my space journey, actually, I was telling Nelly the other day that we have a very similar story of how we got interested in space. Because for me, it was when I was in primary school, and my teacher comes to class one day and she tells us there's a subject called general knowledge, and she tells us the first man who landed on the moon is called Neil Armstrong. And I was like, wait, what? What do you mean by first man who landed on the moon? So you're telling me people have gone to the moon? Yeah, it was shocking. It was quite shocking. And I asked these questions around the house, the community. I was like, how did Neil Armstrong get to the moon? But no one could answer. But then, I continued with my education, was good with maths, did science. And then when I got into engineering school, the exposure to the internet for research is what got me back into space. I used Google, I used LinkedIn, learned more about space. Well, from the question of how Neil Armstrong got to the moon, I learned what space is. And then the entire field of aerospace was one that I was like, okay, I think this is what I want to do in my life. And soon after that, when I graduated from uni, I had my first opportunity to attend a space event, which was the IAC in 2021. And being there, so I attended the UNIF workshop, which happens before the IAC, and I was the only Cameroonian in the room, right? And I was like, okay, first of all, yes, cool, but I do not want to keep being the only Cameroonian in this place. So how do I get more people from my country to know what's going on within this industry and to contribute to the greater project of getting space tech, right, to help us with some of the challenges that we face and even just achieving the SDGs. So I got back home and then started the Aerospace Baby project. And the focus was not just on girls. The focus was on kids, right? Both boys and girls. And the reason for this is I have so many brothers. I have so many brothers, and I I sometimes ask myself, even now, and Nelly, I don't know if this is a controversial belief, but so I have my little brother who is he has an interest in engineering. He's in his final year of high school. And I was just looking out the other day for opportunities that he can apply for once he's done with high school. And I realized that I do not even know so many opportunities that he'll be able to apply for, but I knew a few ones for women, right? And I was like, oh my God, it feels like I cannot help my brother. And I did not like that feeling. So I think even though there are still a few women in the STEM and space industry, uh, there's still a little, I don't say guys have it difficult, which makes it to end up being like the women are against the men. Because I've heard guys say, you girls have it easy. We do not have it easy. There are opportunities for women, yes. There's a month dedicated to women, yes. We are thankful for that, because when you look at the history of why this even started, from women not being able to have bank accounts or being able to go to school, thinking women were only good for the kitchen and marriage. But in as much as there are all these movements that are empowering women now, telling us we can do it, um, encouraging us by maybe providing scholarships and all of that, we do not want a situation where the men feel like uh we have it easy because the opportunities are so many, right? Those opportunities are many, but then at the end of the day, the numbers, do they match, right? Do we end up having so many women as well in leadership positions? Are they in the C-suite at companies, right? What does the market look like when we're talking of employment, right? Are there gender roles? So there are just so many and I'm glad that there are guys here, who want to know how they feel as well. Do you feel like women have it easy? But because if we're talking about accelerating women's presence in the African space industry. We also want to look at the space agencies that exist within Africa, right? How many of them are led by women? I mean, the men who are leading, we love them, they're doing good, and they are providing platforms for women uh to do their thing, but how many women African Space Agency leaders are there? We'd love to see more, right? Um, And yeah, I think there's a lot of conversations I would have around this, maybe during the Q&A, but that's just my thought on the whole topic.
Yeah, how very exciting contributions, very interesting contributions, Lily. And I really loved how you balanced it, going back to gender parity. And this is not women versus men kind of something. Women in space have always been a bit of a controversial topic, at least not mainstream. But sometimes I do get guys that work in the space industry that, no, you guys are going overboard with this. It's not that bad, honestly. You are exaggerating. Or in Africa, for example, they'll say the opportunities are not there for guys as well, just like you rightly pointed out. So it's quite like an interesting conversation, and I just love how you teased out some of these underlying issues and you set the stage for the conversation. Thank you so much, Lily. And for everybody just joining us, welcome, and we are very glad to have you here. We are talking about accelerating women's participation in the African space industry. So I think Mary is on the call, and Mary is the founder of Geospatial Girls and Kids. And it will be so great to hear her perspective on the team and tell us a bit about herself and her work as well. So, Marie, over to you. She there?
Hello, can you hear me,
Yes,
Nelly?
I can hear you. Did you put on your camera? If you want, that'll be great. I think Lily had issues with hers, that's why she could put that on.
My issue with the internet, I don't know. Maybe
Oh
because
yes, oh yeah, that's fine. Absolutely, it's okay. As long as
okay.
we can hear you loud and clear, that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much again. Hi, Nelly. Hi, Lily. And hi to all the panelists. Hello, everyone. My name is Marie Makuate, and I'm a Cameroonian. Yeah. I'm based in Yaoundé. I'm a geomatician. I'm a researcher. And I advocate for the use of geospatial technologies and space science in Africa. Yeah. So currently, I'm a researcher for the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation, where I am the head of department of open data. I oversee the management, the integration, and accessibility of geospatial data to support decision-making process at various levels in the country. In this role, I work to ensure that spatial data is not only available, but also reliable and effectively used for development planning, monitoring, and infrastructure management. In Africa, we usually say that it's difficult to have data, but what I say is that it's not just difficult to have data. The difficult part is to use the data we have, because if you have all the data and you don't know how to use it, it's useless. So I'm trying to show how we can use open data to improve our environment. I'm also a member of the UNTTM Africa, which is the United Nations Committee of Experts on Global Geospatial Information Management for Africa, where I contribute to strengthening geospatial government and promoting the use of geographic information for sustainable development across the continent. As an expert there, my work is to involve supporting policy that enhance spatial data infrastructure. And at the end of the day, the result is to bridge geospatial gaps in Africa. Beyond my institutional roles, I'm deeply committed to education, capacity building, empowerment in geospatial and space sector. That's why I have founded the Geospatial Girls and Kids, which is an initiative that aims to inspire, to mentor, and to train young people, especially girls. I will explain why, to explore careers in mapping, remote sensing, and space science and technology. Through this platform, we organize workshop, training session, and even outreach program that provides students in high school, especially, but this recent year we have started working with university as well, because the demand was so high. So our goals is to bridge the gender gap in STEM. I usually say in GeoSTEM because we are focused on geospatial here, by creating opportunity for young women to access technical skill, professional network, and career guidance in geospatial and space related field. The innovation is that we have been working with many startup geo-oriented in Africa, where we connect our students at the end of the training for internship. For some of them got jobs like remote jobs or in-person jobs after our training, and that's a plus for us. In addition to my professional and advocacy work, I am also a researcher and PhD candidate, currently working on a doctoral thesis focused on restoration landscape in Africa, in the Congo Basin. Yeah, through my career, I have the opportunity to speak at international conferences, in panel like this one, contribute to global discussion on the role of geospatial data in sustainable development. Yeah, my work has also extended to collaborative effort with institutions and government to promote open data policy, improve spatial data infrastructure, and encourage cross-sectoral application of geospatial information. In Cameroon, I'm working with the Ministry of Scientific Research on how we are going to plan to implement the National Space Agency. And I think that will be something great for the country. So today I'm truly honored to be part of this panel and to engage in discussion around space, women, Africa, and so on and so forth. And I look forward to exchanging ideas, sharing experience, and learning from my fellow panelists and the audience. So I believe that these platforms are essential for fostering innovation, building partnership, and advancing the role of geospatial and space technology in solving problems in Africa. Thank you for this opportunity, Nelly, and I look forward to our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, for that extensive background on your work and what you do at Geospatial Gates and Kilts and the Ministry of Scientific Research. I'm very happy to hear about the plans for a National Space Agency in Cameroon. That would be good. That would be very interesting. So, yes, we're going to keep tabs on that and keep our eyes on the internet to see how that goes as well. So I think we have our third panelist on the call now, and Mrs. Philippa from the Nigeria Space Agency. Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to have you here. And if you want to go ahead and give a background to your work and the topic you're supposed to speak on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm very sorry. My network was kind of interrupting, but we
It's
scaled
okay.
through. So great. I'm going to share my slide.
Yeah, please feel free. And if you want to put on your camera as well, that'll be good if you want to put on your camera as well.
Okay, that's fine. Let me just fix the slides and just let me know when you see it.
Yes, I just gave you permission to share. I can't see it for now. If you want to try sharing again, I just try sharing again.
Just 1 minute. Great, can you see it?
Nothing yet from my end, at least. Oh yeah, I think it's some robots. So yeah.
Great. So my name is Philippa, and I work with the Nigerian Space Agency. Can you hear me, Nelly? Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Yeah.
Great. So like I said, I work with the Nigerian Space Agency, NASRDA, and it's a pleasure to be here. I've heard so much about Space Hub. So Nelly is very enthusiastic in space. So whenever she pops up, definitely I'm always on her roll call. So I have been quite on a roller coaster because I've been having so many webinars in other African countries as well. And it's really interesting beginning to wake up and as regards to artificial intelligence and robotics. So I'll just go straight to the point. I'm speaking on women paving the way in AI and robotics for girls. And it's a very delightful topic for me because, like I said, it's a wake-up call. Whether we like it or not, artificial intelligence is the future, is the present. And then I encourage every girl to see it as a tool that one can be able to tap into. So let's look at what artificial intelligence and robotics actually mean. Can you see my slide?
Yeah.
Sorry for me.
Yeah, so it's still on the first slide.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm trying to open it.
Okay.
Okay, great. So the first thing that comes to anyone's mind is, what is artificial intelligence? It's just like the name implies. You're trying to make man-made intelligence for applications. And when we say intelligence, it has to be with the power to reason, problem solving, and the ability to make decisions. So as I would like to enlighten most of the participants here on some of the benefits of artificial intelligence and why Nigeria and Africa has to quickly wake up and be part of this game. Now, there's like $1.84 trillion, which is the projected global AI market by the year 2030. So you can see that robotics market is going to rise to about $62 billion. That means there will be more young billionaires than ever. So this is a wake-up call to why artificial intelligence is very crucial. So let's look at some of the ladies that have made wave in AI and robotics. Like Fife Lu is one of the godmother of artificial intelligence, because she is the one that created the image nets, and she did this in collaborations with other institutions. And we have Ayana Howard, who is the Dean of Engineering. And if you Google her, you will see her numerous and wonderful works. I know it's not really easy for girls, because most girls feel that artificial intelligence and robotics is a male-dominated field, but not anymore, not anymore. Anymore. So we also have Cynthia, who is the MIT professor on robot interaction. Can you hear me?
Yes, I think, yeah, we lost you for like a second, but we can hear you now. Yes, it's
okay. Can you see the slide now?
Yes, inspiring the next generation. So I think very
great. So there are lots of hubs that you can tap into. The first hub that I would recommend is Space Hub, because that's where you're able to put your dreams in line with what you want to achieve. So we have AI for all. We have girls who code. We have Black girls who code. The first aspiration, like I tell my students, is you have to learn programming language if at all you want to strive in artificial intelligence and robotics. So there are so many mentors available for artificial intelligence and robotics. Last week, I was meant to give like a presentation with women in data science and machine learning, and I was quite impressed with the number of participants that were involved. So that tells you that more girls are waking up and more girls are being involved in artificial intelligence and robotics. Is it difficult? Oh, well, it will always be difficult. But the thing is, I think if you have these four things, you will scale through. And during my speed mentoring sections with the Space Generation Advisory Council, I think I got most questions like, oh, I read biology, chemistry. How can I integrate artificial intelligence? And like I told them, AI is like a tool. It's a necessary tool, regardless of the course that you're studying, regardless of that, you can tap into artificial intelligence and robotics. And I tell you, AI experts get paid in dollars. So you can do remote jobs from from where you are and you get seriously paid. So said, whether it's biology, physics, maths, chemistry, or computer science, whichever, you can tap into it. The only thing you need to know is just be patient with yourself. Don't push yourself too hard. Just take one step at a time and learn the coding. You know that programming is not easy, but with time, I believe that you get to know it. And don't be discouraged, because I know it's a male-dominated field, but you still need to stand on your grounds and look at the future benefit. Where are you going to? You want to be an expert, you want to be recognized. Yeah, so I get a lot of attention because of my expertise. So I'm enjoying the benefits of that. So you can tell you that it's quite rewarding, not just financially only, but you get a lot of attention. So if you ask me, the future for the young ones right now, because the young ones, you have the time, you have the energy, unlike we that are married with kids. So, you know, a little bit challenging for us, but for the young girls, I will encourage them that this is the time for the girls to grab onto their dreams before life becomes very, very easy. So you can join robotic clubs, you know, hang on to hackathons, you know, try to network, join communities. And it is very important you join AI communities to share ideas and, you know, put your skills together. So definitely having mentors works a lot. It puts you in the right path. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Mrs. Philippa, for that very inspiring
You're
conversation.
welcome.
Thank you so much. If we could stop sharing from your
Yes.
end. Yeah. So this is really interesting. I think this is like the session where we had like a direct conversation on girls go get it. What is quite ironic on the call today is that we have more males than females, but for the girls that I see on the call, I hope that you have been inspired. I don't know anything about coding. I'm definitely inspired. So thank you so much, Mrs. Philippa, for just sharing those nuggets with us and
You're
showing that
welcome.
women in this field. I'm so inspired. Thank you so much. So we are
You're
going to
welcome.
go into more of like a panel discussion session, like a Q&A session. I don't know if anybody in the audience, if you have a question or you have a clarification or you want to make a contribution to the discussion, please feel free to raise your hands. We'll be very happy to hear from you, and feel free to send a message to the chat box as well if you don't want to speak, and I could read out your question or read out your contribution as well. But it would be very good to hear your thoughts on women in space and accelerating women's action in the African space sector. So I'm just going to ask my speakers, just we'll go around the panel, how we started. So from Lily to Marie, and just discuss around a few questions. Please, if you have a question, just feel free to raise your hands and we'll be very glad to take your question midway. Feel free to send to the chat, like I said. So I think Lily, you've kind of made your point quite clear from the get-go on how you see gender parity, and it's not just about women, but also about making sure that we have also more boys. And you're still actively promoting the idea of having more women. So it's a bit like you said, it's controversial and a bit contradictory. So what really inspired your interest in like promoting gender parity, although recognizing that we do need men, but what really inspired your interest, and what do you think are the practical actions? Or you could just talk about your interest for now, and then we could talk about the other ones later. So around the panel, we just want to know what inspired your interest to like really focus more on girls. And Lily, maybe you could address what you were saying about, the contradictions in making sure we don't have boys. If you want to expand a little bit on that, that would be great.
That's an interesting question, Nelly. What inspired my interest in wanting to get more girls? So the thing is, I believe innovation thrives on diversity, right? Women would be better placed to solve the problems that women face because they know the problems that we have, right? And if we have a bunch of tech bros who do not really understand how what the challenges that women have, let's just put in that way, the challenges that women have, it means they will not be able to suggest or provide solutions that are tailored for women. But having a woman on the team, you have, a female perspective. You can have someone look through this project that you're working on, or even develop the projects that would help women. And there's this thing about women having everyone else in mind. I think it's what they call it. Is it the maternal instinct or what? Where women will not just think about themselves, but they also think about the men and also the children. Again, which is what I've been saying here since we started. It's not just women. When you empower a woman, people say these things, it may sound cliche, but for real, when you empower a woman, you empower an entire generation, because she's looking out for her children, she's looking out for her husband, for her mom, dad, for her entire community. And I'm not saying men do not do same, but it's just different, right? I'll say we leverage on our maternal instinct. So it's very important that we have that diversity, because innovation thrives when we have different opinions. And yeah.
Yeah, wow, interesting. Yeah, very good point on exactly like women would look after like more community approach and everything. And also men will beg to differ. But honestly, this is quite an interesting conversation. If you have a different opinion, anybody on the panel on the call, please feel free to share. But yes, I'm totally understanding the point from which Lily is coming from. Thank you so much for sharing, Lily. And let's hear from Mary as well. Mary, what inspired you to go into like just Fasha Girls and Kids and yeah, your advocacy work primarily? Is Mary still there? Okay, I don't think Mary's on the call right now. So, Mrs. Philippa, if you want to go ahead, please.
Okay. When you're in a very advanced terrain like artificial intelligence and robotics, it just has to do with your passion. And when you have that passion, you just don't get tired. You don't want to stop. You just keep going, and you're enjoying the pleasure of, succeeding and excelling in it. So for advanced technology, the most important thing is what you want to do. You have to get it clear, and you have to know what path you want to go into, or career path you really want to focus into. And if you want to use artificial intelligence as a tool, you have to accept its complexity and take it one step at a time. But basically, it has to be with passion. It's just all
Mm.
about passion.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very, very interesting take. And if you would like to add, please, like what really inspired you to then focus on girls, like the project being done and you mentoring with UNURSA Space for Women, what drives you towards that looking up for like gender parity as well, if you want to add.
Yeah. Yes. I noticed that there are very few women in air and robotics in Africa, not just any country in particular. So the whole idea is, if I have this whole load of talent in me, I like to do knowledge transfer. I like to share this knowledge with the girls. So that's what drives me to my goals on, having webinars and talking to girls, because I believe that when I share the knowledge, someone out there can just be the first female president of Nigeria or
Absolutely.
any other
Yeah.
African
Yes,
country.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. I do children advocacy too sometimes, and you just don't know who you're talking to. You don't know
Exactly.
who you're talking to. So it's very nice to have that forward-thinking approach to look after the young ones. And I'll just go back to Lily now. Lily, if you want to talk a bit about like in terms of like actionable steps, and at the continental level, of course, we're still waiting for the African Space Agency to be fully operational, and we don't really have a continental maybe strategy for gender parity in space. But if you want to maybe share your thoughts on this, what like not action, not things like hashtag women in space for 30 days, something practical. Of course, like I'm all in for advocacy. That's mostly what I do. But I know that beyond talking, like practical actions that can be taken on the ground, on the continent to advance, women's participation in space. You can say 30 days hashtag if you if you want to, but yeah, I just use that as a joke.
Right. So Nelly, first of all, I think Space Hubs Africa, even having a panel session like this, is a very, very applaudable step, right, towards gender parity on the continent. And having programs like the UNUSA Space for Women Mentorship Program, which stopped last year, but there was a conversation around making sure that comes back, is also important because mentors play a key role in one's career, right? So even I remember when I started my space career, I used LinkedIn a lot to
Yeah.
look out for mentors. I would go on there, I would search for Cameroonians in the space industry. I came across one woman who has been my mentor to date. She is a very inspiring person. She, at that time, was working at NASA. She's Cameroonian, and she's doing all these cool projects, right? And just the fact that there was someone from my country working at NASA, very cool. I was like, yes, I feel like I can do anything. I'm unstoppable. And I think on a personal level, just us taking everything that we do seriously, right? Our own careers, our own projects, taking it seriously goes a long way in inspiring other girls. We don't know who's watching, right? And even if there is no hashtag movement going on the continent, we know that there are the Nellies of Africa, right?
Okay.
There are the Philippas, right? And
Yeah.
there are all these strong women who are working very hard and doing their job diligently, and you see so much competence and you want to be like that, right? You want to be someone who knows what they're doing. It's not just a gender hire, but someone who knows their onions, right? Like they're an expert in this field. So I think even us being good at what we do is a good movement on its own. We shouldn't just be there to occupy space and to pick up these opportunities that exist. There are a lot of them. And like I was telling you, I was even wondering how to help my brother, because when I looked out for opportunities, I saw a lot of opportunities for women. But the thing is, when we take advantage of these opportunities, it shouldn't just be us being a statistics. We should actually, take advantage, not just in the sense of it. So yeah, that's what I think about that. There are a lot of movements, a lot of institutions like UNOSA that I mentioned. There's also the US Department of State that has the Tech Women Program. And in tech, there are like women tech makers, there is women in tech. So there are so many groups of women. And these groups maybe have scholarships, they have mentorship programs, and the programs existing is not enough, right? If we're not really making sure that we are taking it seriously and doing the job diligently.
I say thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your opinion on that. So we'll just get Mrs. Philippa's opinion on the practical steps, and then we'll take the questions from the chat. Thank you, Bisola and Matthew. Mrs. Philippa, please.
Can you remind me technical steps on?
Yeah, practical actions that can be taken to accelerate women's participation within the continent and space.
Yes, I think Lily has said it all, but I'm just going to have add very few. Sourcing for mentors, you need like hubs, like space hubs. You need to, go out there, network, go for events, go for webinars. You just need to put yourself out there. Like she said, you can go to LinkedIn, although some mentors could be really private when it comes to LinkedIn, but you could just try. And if it doesn't work, you just hang around, check on the internet, available webinars close to your locations, go there, talk to someone on your dreams, and you'll be surprised it works. So there are lots of ways that one can be able to connect with a mentor. For example, after this webinar, you can tell Nelly, oh, I want Lily to be my mentor. Nelly, I want you to be my mentor, Philippa. So that's just how it starts. You need to be involved in, networking and creating this powerful connections. So that's the first step.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much, Mrs. Philippa. I think we have some questions on the chat, so I'm just going to take them. And if you have any question or any contribution you want to make a contribution to the conversation as well, please feel very free. We would love to hear from you. Just raise your hand. And so the first question we have is from Bisola, and she said, I think the question has been answered. How can young women interested in space careers get started and find mentorship opportunities, especially in Africa where access to such opportunities is often limited? And I think Lily has said some things in that direction. Lily, if you want to be more specific or give more opinions from what you've already said on access to opportunities as well. And maybe I should take the two questions. And I think Matobo is saying she attended the XGS. Oh, that's lovely. And she was the only Zimbabwean in the room. So what advice? So she's inspired to create platforms for Zimbabweans to learn about space and hopefully introduce space subjects in our education systems from a young age. What advice do you have, and where can I start, and how can I go about it from your experiences? So, Lily, if you could maybe give your opinions on those questions, and then Mrs. Philippa as well. I think I'll share one or two things too.
Okay. Thank you, Nelly, for reading that out. These are really interesting questions because it's literally how to start, right?
Yeah.
If you are just maybe graduating, or you're still a student, or if you're between 18 and 35, just in that age bracket, the SGAC is a good place to start. Nelly is the regional coordinator for Africa. Again, the Nellies of Africa. You can look at how different people have taken advantage of the opportunities that SGAC provides, right? I'm sure Andiswa got maybe funding from the SGAC. I'm not sure, but maybe should let us know, to attend the SGX in Washington, DC. And there are so many other opportunities that the SGAC provides for events, for webinars, for training programs, right, where you could even get certificates. And there's also a mentorship program under SGAC. I wouldn't say it's gender focused, but it's general. But then it's a good place to start as a young woman interested in space, right? Because that's how I started.
Yeah.
So just join the SGAC. If you're not sure about how to go around it, you can reach out to Nelly or myself. I'm happy to share the links. And I think even before joining, there's a prerequisite, right? You should know what you want. You should know where you see yourself. But it's okay if you don't know yet, because maybe talking to someone, they would help you figure that out. But I would say the first step is it's going to speed up the process if you get into the community already knowing your target. You're like, okay, I want to learn space engineering. So I'm going here, I'm joining maybe the project group on small satellites, or I'm joining this particular project group. But if you just come in without knowing, you'll be overwhelmed, because there's like space medicine, there's Earth observation, there's space law, there are so many project groups. So the first step would be to figure out where you want to focus, your niche, where you want to specialize, and then maybe reach out to someone who would help you to figure that out if you do not know yet. Then join these communities, seize these opportunities. I mean, seize them. It's not a joke, like grab it. And for Adiswa's question, yeah, this is very similar to how I felt when I attended my first IAC at Jiswa, just as you pointed out. And just the feeling of wanting to create that platform to to expose more people to these opportunities is a good thing. It's a very, very commendable thing that you have in your heart. So I think Zimbabwe is not doing bad in space.
Yeah,
On
if you
Cameroon.
say, I don't know if Tando will agree with you though, but just
Okay. Okay. I say this because some of us, we do not even have space agencies to begin
yeah.
with. Like Marie said, she's working on a project that is trying to make that happen, right? But it's something that will make all of us happy. But Zimbabwe has already gone like a few steps ahead, right? There's a space agency. They've worked on few satellites. There are all these people who have gone to Japan and learned and, made CubeSats for the country. So it means there are role models for you at this one, and there are people you can collaborate with. Even Tando on this group, reaching out to him
Yeah, reach out to Tando, honestly.
to figure out how you can
Reach
go.
out to Tando. Yeah, that's actually very good advice.
Right. So yeah, I believe they're already, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. Maybe there are a few
Yeah,
projects
there is.
on the
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah. Good. Honestly, your last point is just spot on, Lily.
Yeah.
Have you wrapped up? Sorry, so I don't.
Yeah, I'm done. That's pretty much
Yeah, I was
my
just going to just continue from what you were saying about Zimbabwe for that last question. Zimbabwe already has a very big space community and people are doing very lovely things. So what you have to do is to just join that community. I think I'm even in their SGSC Zimbabwe group chat and it's very, very, very lively. So maybe if you can get in touch with, you can get in touch with Andrew, I think he's on the group as well, or myself, we could add you to the group chat and you would see so many young people in Zimbabwe, focused on space technology, doing projects and doing stuff. So I think, yeah, you don't have to probably create a new platform because there are like multiple platforms already and you could just join one of them and contribute. And then, yeah, for Bisola as well, I don't know if Miss Philippa has shared her opinions, just starting out. Miss Philippa, if you want to share your opinion.
Well, when you're speaking of Zimbabwe, I think I had a very fantastic student from Zimbabwe,
Yeah.
Chelsea. I don't know if you know her. Yeah, so she was given to me along the line from SGAC. So I really recommend SGAC mentorship because they have a way of spreading, students to their mentors, and she's doing very well. She has been able to find her paths, the right networking, and she goes for the right conferences. So I say Zimbabwe is doing well. So I like you said, the person just needs to tap into those communities, and that's the first start.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your opinions and thanks for those who ask questions. I don't know if anybody has any other question because if we're going to be rounding up anytime soon now. So please feel free to still share your questions. Yeah, Tando, please. Yes, please.
Hi, thank you very much for this webinar. It's always a good time hanging out with you guys. My name has been said so much. So I think I tried to respond to Andy so in the group chat. And thank you, Philippa, for mentioning Chelsea. I also met Chelsea at SGC and IAC in Azerbaijan. We spent a lot of time together. And she's really quite inspiring. She's doing such good work. I think she's currently finishing her studies in Russia, so hopefully she'll be joining us back in Zim soon. I have two questions, a bit more on the serious side. So the first one is looking at how the US government has been shifting their policy towards inclusion and diversity. We've already started to feel it in the space sector. NASA, for example, it has started to cut off and to delete all content that is related to diversity or the inclusion of women. For example, for the Artemis program, they used to say, oh, we're going to land the first woman on the moon and the first person of color on the moon. But then recently their website actually changed and they deleted that line. They've also deleted all their content and all their books that were promoting women to get into STEM. I think they wrote sort of a comic book of some sort, sort of celebrating the unsung women in the space sector? Because as we know, there's been a lot of contribution from women in the space sector, like the Hidden Figures, from the movie, and also the lady who converted GPS from military to consumer use. Do you think we're going to see any such impact on the African space ecosystem? Is there going to be any such response? So that's the first question. The second question is, when you're looking at the African space policy and the African space strategy, they mention, things like space-derived benefits should be factored in according to, including women and youth in these initiatives. They also, the African space strategy, I think when it talks about capacity development, it mentions in one line, like capacity development must promote gender parity or something like that. Where are you seeing this in actual practice? How are you seeing this policy being translated into practice in Africa, across the space agencies, across the initiatives, and so forth? Those are my two questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Tando. And I don't know, Lily, you want to go there first, or Miss Philippa, whoever wants to
Yeah,
go?
sorry, I think I lost my network there. I didn't quite get the questions. Nelly, can you rephrase?
Okay, his first question was about America and Trump cutting off funding and Trump, boycotting and shutting down DEI fundings, diversity and equality and inclusion, and how this would affect NASA programs that prioritize gender parity. What kind of effects would that probably have on the African space ecosystem? And then the second question was about the African space policy and strategy that has, one line comments here and there on gender equality, which is true, but how do we see that, being implemented in across the space agencies and at the continental level? If you have any opinion on that.
Well, I think Africa operates differently when it comes to women inclusion. I think Africa is evolving, and right now they're giving lots of women opportunities. So that's one of the good things. However, for the Western world, whatever they decide to do, I don't really think it's going to affect the Africans because we have a very firm grip of our culture. But the good thing is Africa is beginning to appreciate women's inclusion and giving women a voice. Although we do hope that in the nearest future it will increase and expand, but it's getting there. It's much better than before, where women were not even allowed to do, STEM fields, and women were not even allowed to talk when the guys are talking, or participate in things that they claim are for guys, especially technology. Space technology has been male dominated, but if you ask me, I don't think whatever policies the Western world has with the female inclusions, I don't think it's going to hit up to Africa. I think Africa is having a very solid ground. Look at this webinar that we're having now. You can see more and more girls are being involved. In all the webinars I've been to, most like 12 African countries, it's been solid on the girls' participation. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your thoughts and opinion on that, Mrs. Philippa. And Lily, you want to say something? I think you're probably in the US, so you should be feeling it hot right now. So if you want to say something about that.
Yeah, about whether Africa will be affected, the whole DI and Trump's uh constitutions. I don't think so. And it's a good thing for us, right? Because we have the African Space Agency, which is not yet I don't know if do we say it's I mean it's been inaugurated and we know very soon it's going to be really, really active. But it means that the African Space Agency has the power to set rules, especially since it's the AU, rules around what African states should, I hope. I don't know, I'm not a policy person, but that's this is from an engineer's point of view, this
Yeah.
policy. But
Yeah. It's fine.
I hope ASA is able to set some rules and standards around gender equality, right, for the space agencies. Maybe saying at least a 30% representation of women, or whatever it is, because I know the GMS and Africa project had a 30% requirement for the member institutions, I think around the trainings, or if Marie was here, she would even give us more information.
Yeah. They
But
had the GMS and Women Initiative as well. So
yeah,
yeah.
so mirroring from that, I think the African Space Agency would
Yeah.
make sure that, yeah, we're trusting them.
Yeah, that's all hope right now. So thanks for sharing your opinion and thoughts on that. So I'm just quickly going to see, just to respond to Tando, and I don't have an answer, but the problem that I see here is with regards to some of the DEI funding and projects, some of the projects, like you've mentioned GMS in Africa, and you've mentioned the 30%, slots for women or something like that. But GMS in Africa itself is an EU-led initiative. So we see how even the regional integration projects that wants to promote gender parity are driven from external actors outside of the continent primarily. So it's not a regional owned partnership or project, so to say. And with the soft influence of Western powers and pro-Trump countries. Honestly, it's political. Tando asked a very political question. That probably has that the answer would definitely be political. So yes, it's something that we should be a bit concerned about. But like Philippa mentioned, we want to believe that Africa has, like we talked about African identity, we'll have our own priorities and our own agenda to do to work towards gender parity for the needs of our continent. Because as it stands now, when we talk about maybe gender parity in these issues like space and all, we can't honestly compare some of the contributions of like African women. We have less African women in space and STEM and technology. I think we have more in policy actually and law. And so we have a different reality from them. What we would then expect is that African government then prioritize what is going on in our continent and not, focus on the politics of DEI, because DEI is very political, very controversial, but looking on the ground and seeing that we have a real problem. And on your question, is it being implemented across the agencies? I'll say no. I think like most African space agencies have not been paying attention to gender parity. And the reason is because, of course, like to do specific DEI projects, you need funding. They are still looking for funding, to launch satellites and to do, the basic things that the space agency is meant to do. So we've not really seen that enthusiasm towards, gender, projects that prioritizes or kind of like push for gender equality in the sector is not loud in Africa. But we are hoping that in the coming future, decisions taken by agencies and by the space agency, the African Union, would reflect the continent's reality and not, geopolitics. That is all we can hope. And to do that, we then need to have our own projects, and it comes down to the conversation on technological sovereignty. And because the more we have our own projects, our own money, and our own data to do our own stuff, the more we would be concerned if someone else is saying that they want to send someone to the moon, a female to the moon again. So it's quite interesting. Thank you so much, Dando. And I hope we have been able to collectively answer your question. So I'm just going to round up our conversation now. We would get input from all our speakers just to get their last words and final words to the young girls on the group. And then I'll just round off the seminar by telling us, what our agenda. Oh, do you mind, Mom? Yeah. Thank you, Lily. Sorry, you could go first, and then Miss Philippa, your final words, and then we'll hear from Jemima. If Jemima has like a final words to say, because she's just joined the call, and then we'll round up the conversation. Thank you, Lily.
Thank you, Nelly. Yeah, I think we've had quite a conversation this morning, afternoon. Um, and I would like that, leaving from here, being a guy or girl, man or woman, we should try to make sure that even where we work, right, we are creating opportunities or sharing opportunities. um Gender parity is not just because in the space sector, if we're saying gender parity, we're talking about equal opportunities for women and men to enter, and advance in their careers. Equal pay is not female parity, right? It's gender parity, which is,
Yeah,
is for men
yeah.
and women together. And it means that we shouldn't for example, do not be someone who says, "Oh, I only mentor girls," right? Because if you mentor a boy today, he could end up mentoring several girls tomorrow, right? You don't know where the support that you provide anybody would go. So we shouldn't really buttress on empowering women and then again forgetting that the guys also matter. And I say this because I have many brothers, and I was again stuck in a situation where I was wondering how I can even help my brother. But uh, we also want to make sure that there's a balance in leadership, right, and decision making and innovation. And if we say balance in leadership, it's not our place to right now. If I'm saying balance in leadership, Nelly, what is your understanding? It's not like we would be voting for the women and then we can absolutely decide that they are the ones in power. But we should develop our capacity in a sense that we are able to occupy leadership positions, to create these opportunities that we are talking about. Because if we keep coming up with the ideas, we keep sharing, oh, we should do this, we should do that, but we're sending it to someone else, then we're not really in control of how they go about the whole advice in quotes. So we should continue to build our own capacity, be really good at what we do, um, and yeah, accept leadership positions as well, because sometimes I've heard women who just have this tendency of saying no when offered opportunities that requires them to lead, because they're like, oh, there are so many men. How do you want me to lead these men? But then it's a collaborative effort, right? Let's accept some of these challenges, because even us occupying, by us, I mean women, even us occupying these positions goes a long way in inspiring boys and girls together. So those are my last words.
Those are like very touching final words, like pick up the challenge. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lily. And Mrs. Philippa, if you want to share your final words.
Great. So I'm going to be addressing both the males and females here in particular, no gender specification. Because I've mentored both males, international, local, and both females. So I think I'm in a good shoe to balance it off. What I can say is the most important thing is don't give up on your dreams. I know in life sometimes setback comes in and then we'll wait back and we want to give up. But I tell you, the best things of life comes that one moment when you just don't give up. I will tell you, it's not an easy ride when you want to achieve a dream and, all of a sudden you see your dream crashing. So what I say is hang in there, just hold on and just keep doing your best. And definitely you will succeed, because I have seen lots of people giving up at the verge of their destiny. So you can imagine the power of not giving up. It's very crucial for the youth not to give up, because of so many influences can weigh you down. So follow your dreams, be passionate, go out there, spread the word of what you do, make connections, grab some networks, and before you know it, you achieve your dreams. And like I tell all the students, there is nothing like difficult. Difficult is just the word. You need to remove the fear out of it, and then you can face it. If it's artificial intelligence you want to go into, remove the fear, put the passion, and you definitely excel. Like I said, I know the Westerners feel like, okay, there are few experts in AI and robotics or advanced technology in Africa. And I know that Africans are actually scared to go into something too advanced because they believe, oh man, I'm going to crack my head and stuff. But like I said, fear is just the word. Difficult is just the word. Get it out of the way. Put in your passion. Don't give up. Keep trying, and definitely you hit your benchmark and you achieve your dreams. Thank you.
Wow, well said. Thank you so much, Philippa. Thank you so much. I think that's like a get-go word for everybody. Don't give up on your dreams, wherever they are, space or not. Don't give up. I think we have Jemima just joined the call about 10 minutes ago. If she could just say a few things for a roundup. Jemima, please.
Thank you, Nelly. Thank you so much.
It's okay.
Sorry I joined late. We had no lights. Very interesting, yes. I'll just make it short for everybody.
I'm sorry, can you put on your camera if that's convenient, Jemima? If it's convenient.
Okay. Give me a second. So sorry.
No problem at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay.
yes.
Can't.
It could affect my internet, but
Okay, that's okay. It's okay. I think yes,
okay.
today is was
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, today is okay. Let me just get this like this. Okay, brilliant, awesome. Hello everybody. So I think what I could say to the females out there is that you need to have a focus, you need to have a goal. I think a lot of the panel members have already spoken about it, but having a focus is very, very important. And when you have a focus, don't let anything get in the middle of it. Don't let anybody, unless the person is a mentor or a professor or a lecturer or somebody already in the field, do not let them get in the middle of your focus. You should always know what you are after and know what you are for. When you have a focus in anything, nobody will be able to sway you, nobody will be able to push you off your goal. And always be committed and always be driven to always pursue your goal. And that is like literally the most important thing any woman can ever get, because society will be telling you something, friends will be telling you something, parents will be telling you something. But the moment that you have a focus in your life and you really, really want to pursue it, and you have a strong will and an iron heart, you'll be able to achieve almost everything you need to achieve. Just be focused, study extremely hard, work really hard. All of these women in the panel, I know them that they really learn and they really strive towards their goal. And if you have this sort of mindset, you'll be able to achieve anything you set your mind to. So thank you, Nelly, for this
Thank you,
opportunity, and
Jemima.
I hope
Yeah. No.
women will.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Hopefully, we have you again for another webinar where you could, actually have the time to speak more. So we could arrange that. Yes, it's okay. Thanks for coming in today. Thank
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes, and thank you so much, everybody, for staying this long for the conversation. And I'm just going to maybe share just the next webinar. We'll be having it on April 29th. We know next month we'll be having the International Day of Human Spaceflight. And I know this is not like a very popular topic in Africa because we don't have human spaceflight missions, but a lot of countries are beginning to show interest, and not just countries. I think young people in Africa are very interested in human space flight, although we don't have the capacity about it. And just having a space where we can talk about it and dialogue and gain new insights to what is happening around the continent would be so interesting. So you can join us next month for an hour, 30 minutes, just a short time, and we can talk about human space flight because we have an amazing speakers. So yes, I hope to see you all next week. And I don't know, Richard is supposed to be on the call to share the link. So please join us here and join us here on our webinar platform. Follow us on social media and fill our webinar survey form. It's going to be on the WhatsApp group as well. If you're on the WhatsApp group, we'll share this webinar survey form so that you can give us your feedback and let us know if you have any questions or concerns for our webinar to improve it. So once again, thank you so much, everybody, for coming around today. Very, very, very grateful. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And if you want to take a picture, I think all our speakers have camera issues now, but I'm not sure who will be taking the pictures with this one. But I don't mind keeping the tradition and just taking a picture if anybody wants to put on their camera. And let me see who's on the call. Oh, Kweku, hello, Kweku. Nice to see you on the call. Yeah. Hi, Kweku.
Finally.
Yeah, nice call today. And I don't know, you want to say anything about the topic? We still have people on the call. That'll be great. Yes.
No,
Sorry
I mean,
not to put you on the spot, but it would be good to hear from you.
no, I think you and the speakers did a really good job. It was very insightful, and it's also very inspiring to hear from the ladies themselves what they think is necessary or what's missing. So I think I, like everybody else in the audience, learned quite a lot, and thanks for hosting this discussion, Ellie.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much, everybody, and we hope to see you all next month. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.